And welcome everybody to the Burbank Blizzard Esports Arena here in usually sunny California. Not as much lately, but it's sunny today. It's another week of Overwatch League starting off week 4. I'm Doe. With me, it's Monte Cristo. And man, we have got a good one to get started with today, don't we?
Yeah, I'm really excited actually because I will actually provide some solace to the Gladiators fans with some statistics, especially those brought up by our stats guy, Captain Planet, as we get into the game. But I think things are not so bad as they appear for the Gladiators. Valiant, though, they're definitely as bad as they appear, so.
Well, let's take a look at how good things have been going across the league. Here's our standings here. Now, the rough thing for the Gladiators is that if they lose any of their matches from here on out, they are out of playoff contention, which would be crazy because that would mean the first two teams eliminated from stage 1 are the two LA teams, which going into this season is never something I would have predicted.
Yeah, I think most people probably had them both in the top 10 coming into the season, so this is quite a surprise to say the least.
Sure is. So one of the best things about this matchup that we can look forward to is a bit of the talking of trash, as they say, and few talk it better than Dogman on the Atlanta Reign. He had some choice words in some of their more recent matches.
Oh my god. Crazy guy.
Very crazy guy. What do you say?
Cruz is a feeder. Yoicks. Yoicks.
Well, yoicks indeed, I guess. Dogman kind of, having some words for his opponent on the other side. And to be fair, they handled Cruz really well in that match too, actually. Masa just took it to him. But on the flex support side of things, Dogman versus Shaz today. Shaz, of course, had a spectacular last year on Zenyatta. But, we'll see how he does against Dogman today. This is definitely going to be a matchup to watch.
Yeah, and you take a look, and Dogman has less hero damage per 10 and less healing per 10. But look at those final blows. Dogman is positioning himself aggressively to get some of the pickoffs to start fights. And actually, ever since they introduced Dogman into the lineup, Atlanta Reign's overall teamfight win percentage is 54%, but it's actually 57% when Dogman plays. So his introduction has really done a lot for the Atlanta Reign and is bumping them up those teamfight win rate standings.
It's great to see. We'll see if they can keep the momentum rolling today. Let's introduce some guys. With the way the weather has been in LA lately, I feel like this should be our LA team, but it's not. But give it up for them anyway. It's the Atlanta Reign. I know it's a different kind of rain, Monty Chris, so let me do it this way.
All right. I'm letting you have it. It was a good job. I appreciated it.
Here they come. This team, coming into the league, a lot of people weren't expecting too much from our expansion teams, but Atlanta and a couple others have certainly shown us that that is not going to be the case. These guys have had some great results, and they seem to only be getting better.
Yeah, and a lot of eyes have been on Defran, obviously, as a very popular streamer in the league. And he's actually #2 in the league overall on Zarya when it comes to final blows per 10 minutes. So he's finishing off a lot of these kills. But a lot of the damage is actually coming from Popo and Erster, who are #1 on Reinhardt and #1 on Brigitte, respectively, in terms of damage per 10 minutes. So they're outputting a lot of the initial damage, and that's where Defran comes and mops up everybody in that team fight.
Sure enough. Well, they're going to have a tough opponent for them. Let's hear it for the home team, the LA Gladiators. Okay, leading the charge, and as we said, this is a team that needs a win today. And this is a team that, going into today, predicting these matches, you got to give Atlanta sort of the favor, but you could see Gladiators popping up, right? You look at all the talent on this team. You've seen what a lot of these guys did last year, and you're like, eventually this is going to come out. They are not going to be a team at the bottom of the standings for long, I think.
And there are very particular issues with the Gladiators that I think are fixable, and a lot of it comes down to somebody getting picked off at the start of the team fight or them not focusing a target at the start of the team fight. We'll get into some more of those stats later, but if they can just improve both of those stats just a little bit, I think they're going to go to winning a lot of matches and a lot more team fights than they would normally.
I agree, yeah. And I mean, a lot of people talked about the coordination on this team. They've got that Korean front line and then the more English-speaking back line. And how do you make that work together? How do you make that mesh? And that can be kind of challenging. But the pieces are there, right? And like you mentioned, it's only going to take a little bit more to get it all to start to click.
And yeah, this is a must-win for the Gladiators as well. They're coming in. If they lose to Atlanta, they are mathematically eliminated from the Stage 1 playoffs.
That's right.
Of course, they'll be able to redeem themselves in stages 2 through 4 later in the season.
Sure.
But Gladiators have to keep winning, so it means a lot more to the Gladiators tonight.
I mean, obviously, if you're eliminated from the Stage 1 players, you're not eliminated from the league. You've still got 3 more stages to play, lots of time to come back. Let's take a look at our map list brought to you by Toyota. Gonna start things off on Busan, then going to Kings Row for our hybrid map, then Temple of Anubis, and ending things on our escort map, Rialto. Possibility for a 5th map. I hope we get to see it. More maps between these 2 teams are going to be better, I think, but we're going to start things off on Busan with Control.
Yeah, and we're coming in with the Atlanta Reign, not running end layer in their control, which they did last week, but it was on Ilios, so I was curious if they wanted to play more of a 3-tank, 3-support composition because that map is more favorable to it, whereas Busan typically rewards more DPS. They're not doing that. This is the starting lineup they think they have the best synergy with, and they're not going to be messing around with the let's say, multiple DPS players inside of this. Instead, Daco going to be playing on that Diva.
Standard 3-3 for both teams. Reinhardt's taking a swing at each other right out of the gate. Dogman trying to find an option here, has to keep himself safe, but he has been getting some of those picks lately. Ooh, wow, that Reinhardt extremely low. Poco having to take a break while he gets some much needed healing. And oh, Dogman fell down, and that's not where you want to be as a Zen. You need to be in line of sight to put the orbs on people. Friend and enemy on. Poco does go down first. Roar gets a kill early on, and now Gladiators can charge in with the 6v5, and that should be a pretty easy cleanup for them and a pretty easy early take here on Mecha Base.
Yeah, and that's a great sign for the Gladiators because they are the 2nd worst team in the Overwatch League behind only the Justice when it comes to getting the first elimination in that fight. But they're very average when it comes to finishing out a team fight win after that. It needs to be more of these first eliminations. They need to send themselves up the standing, and then they're going to be probably a mid to top table team.
We'll see. Now it's all about the defense as Atlanta Reign try to come back in, retake the point here. Decay has that grab. A lot of low health members on Atlanta right now. Oh, that's a big shadow, though, coming out of the rain. They need to follow up. Looks like Shads is going to pop the Transcendence to keep people up. Grabs on both sides right now. Daco self-destruct. Is it going to claim anything? They may not need it to, no, because Atlanta picking up the kills they need. And they are going to flip the point.
And big difference, though. Big Goose didn't get his sound barrier until the very end of that fight. So an additional support ult from the Atlanta Reign allows them to outlast the competition on the LA Gladiators and get that first flip.
It is interesting, too, that with them winning the first fight, that he was actually the 2nd Lucio to get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, generally, team fight wins lead to an ult economy advantage, but not in the case of Big Goose this time around. Sometimes when you're bouncing around looking for those picks, you don't put out as much damage and healing as you would normally. Let's see if the self-destruct, the engage with Gladiators and get a whole lot, but no, it sets up one onto Poco and force him into the right position for Roar to just come in swinging, and that coordination that we've been wondering about. I feel like we are starting to see a little bit of that, at least in this first point.
Yeah, great advance there by the Gladiators, too. They hold on to their rally on Hydration's Brigitte, and they know that they have the sound barrier advantage, and Atlanta used their support ults on the last fight. So go ahead, throw in the self-destruct to create space, follow it up with a charge in straight onto the tank line when you have that extra HP from the sound barrier overshield and turn it into a fight win.
Yeah, here we go, Shatter. Dropped in there by Pokepo, didn't get a whole lot, nothing to follow up on at least. They're gonna go ahead and use the grab. There goes Hydration. Early kill brought to you by DeFran. A grab in response for Gladiators as they try to turn this one around. And maybe with that Earth Shadow, they'll do it. They'll take out Daco with the self-destruct. And Gladiators looks like they're gonna be able to keep holding this.
Yeah, Gladiators looking strong. They're staying much closer together. You can see that they're really focusing on collecting as a 6-player unit in this map right now. And I think that's smart. Ball up, because that's been your primary issue, is one of your tanks flying off and dying alone. Focus on staying together and trust that your mechanics are gonna carry you through the fight.
Well, they're certainly looking a little bit more tight on the coordination on side so far this week. Atlanta coming back in 95, 96% now for Gladiators. You got to retake it if you're Atlanta. They push Gladiators up the hill there. Masa on the point trying to flip it right now. They're going to jump in onto Popo, and without the support there, he's not going to be able to survive. Daco eats a grab. Decay giving up that ultimate, and that's going to still allow Atlanta to take that one back. You know, the funny thing, Daco in an interview last week said, I only need to eat 1 meal a day because I dinner on grabs. So there you go, I have grabs for dinner. There's one right there. Chaz to kill Fran. Void caught though by Dako's self-destruct. So possibly with a 1-for-1, just back. Roar doesn't find anyone with that shatter, but Popo still falls anyway. And it looks like Atlanta can have a hard time holding on to this one. Gladiators, time ticking away, and they will claim point A.
Very nice, much tighter play from the Gladiators than we've seen from them before in this season. It's looking like it might be on the up and up. We'll see if they can continue it out through the rest of the match.
I mean, that's just one round, but that's exactly what we were hoping to see from the Gladiators. We said, you know, as soon as they're able to kind of put all these pieces together, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And there it is.
Yeah, their problems were converting on that first kill, right? We talked about how they're second worst in the league at that, but middle of the pack once they get it when it comes to winning those team fights. So part of it is going to be focus firing a target, communicating between their Korean and non-Korean players on the target, and not having a tank fly off and die in the first part of the match.
Well, they were doing a really good job of killing off Popo in a lot of those early fights too, and then being able to follow up on that. Got them the win on round 1. We'll see if they can continue that as we move on to Shrine here. Second point on Busan. Both teams positioning as we get started here. Atlanta Reign trying to claim the point first, getting on top of that, but Popo getting a little bit low. You got to keep Fran alive as well. Meanwhile, Decay dropped a bit low himself, had to back away.
Gladiators are focusing Popo very hard right now, which I think is smart. He is the #1 damaging Reinhardt in the league.
A lot of damage onto him again. As they try to fish him off, he's getting low. Popo has to back way off, and either way, you're getting the space you need to take the point. So even if you don't get the kill there, that's still going to be the point take by Gladiators.
I think this is a really good plan by the Gladiators.
Yep.
Try and catch the Fran on the flank right now.
Now Erster using that rally, try to give the team a little bit of extra armor to come back in with. There's a grab though. DK has his as well. He drops it in. Roar goes down. The Reinhardt out of the way for Atlanta to charge forward here. And on the back of that transcendence from Dogman, maybe they can take it back. They're trying here.
Going to be a bit of a delay, though, before they can actually get it. A lot of ults they have to go through. Both sound barriers have been dropped.
Yeah, no kidding. Gladiators committing to that, trying to buy time until the Reinhardt can return, but now they lose their Lucio. Big Goose does go down. Roar is back, though.
Got
so
the
they bought
shatter.
enough time, yeah, and Lucio being down isn't the worst thing ever. Oh, no, it's a catch onto Dako's back from Void self-destruct. He's got to try to get it back, and that's going to be Gladiators cleaning up this fight. Decay low, though, and Shaz dragging out. It's going to be the Gladiators managing to hold onto it.
Ooh, that's big, too.
Great hold.
Decay manages to survive, gets a healing orb right at the end there, so he's going to have a little bit of charge heading into this next engagement, and he worked his way back up to another Graviton Surge, so Gladiators manages to hold on long enough with Shaz absolutely fragging out.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that was a close one, but the crucial part is that Big Goose got his sound barrier off just in time, and that extra shielding kept them up in time for Roar to come back, and that was a big part of the fight. Now Decay still has that grab ready to go. See if he uses it. It's going to be another rally from Atlanta Reign as they try to get in. A lot of health members ready. Poco nearly down. There he goes. And Gladiators again get that early Reinhardt kill, and it's all elementary from here, man. It's just cleanup. Looking like the janitors of Busan right now.
That they are. Dako going to be left here for a stagger after that. Gladiators throw a lot into that engagement. They're not going to have a support ult for this last fight, but Atlanta Reign's going to be able to maybe not get all their members back to the point in time.
Wow, just bursting through that ancient wooden window to try to pressure Poco again. And they're going to go ahead and take the map. Gladiators taking Busan in style, a decisive 2-0. See, Popo didn't expect him to come through that window because no one would destroy priceless treasures like that. The Gladiators would apparently. There you go. Quick break, and when we come back, we'll see if Reign can tie it up.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.